You walk out of the grocery store, bags in hand, good mood, maybe even humming something, and then you see it. There it is. A massive white streak dragged across the entire lower section of your dark bumper, sitting there like someone signed their name on your car and walked away without a single care in the world. Your stomach drops. Your jaw tightens. You circle the car like you are hoping the angle will change and somehow it will look less bad from the other side, but it does not. It is ugly. It is white. It is long. And your first instinct is to pull out your phone and call the insurance company, which immediately triggers that sinking feeling of deductibles, rental cars, and rate increases. So maybe instead you drive straight to the nearest body shop, and the guy behind the counter barely even looks up before he says, $600, minimum 3 days. And by the way, you should probably also have us look at the panel above it while we have it apart. $600. For a scuff that happened while you were buying milk? For a mark that, and here's the part nobody in that shop is ever going to tell you, is not even a scratch. What you are looking at on that bumper is not damage. It is not a wound. Your clear coat has not been touched, not even close. What happened is that the bumper of the car next to you, or that rogue shopping cart that rolled downhill from 3 rows over, made contact with your paint at an angle, and the friction between those two surfaces generated enough heat that the softer material, the other car's paint, the cart's rubber or plastic coating, transferred directly onto your clear coat like a sticker. It fused there. It is sitting on top of your car's finish, not inside it. Think about that for a second. The body shop wants to sand your car. They want to take abrasive paper to your factory finish, the finish that was applied in a controlled environment with baked-on primer and multiple layers of high durability lacquer, and they want to scuff that entire surface down just to remove something that is literally sitting on top of it like a decal. That is not a repair. That is demolition. And you are about to pay $600 to let someone demolish your original paint so they can spray over it with a color-matched rattle can approximation that will never quite look the same, will fade faster than the original, and will show its edges within 2 years on a hot summer day. But you are not going to do that, because you are going to spend exactly $1, maybe less. You probably already have the solution sitting in your bathroom cabinet right now: standard baby oil, plain mineral oil, the same bottle you can get at any pharmacy, any dollar store, any gas station convenience rack. That is your fix. Not a gimmick, not a shortcut that secretly ruins your paint. A genuine, chemistry-backed solution that the auto body industry has absolutely no interest in telling you about, because the moment you learn this, you stop writing them checks. So, before we go any further, hit subscribe right now, because this channel is the only place where you are going to get the raw, unfiltered truth about what actually works on your car versus what the industry wants you to believe works, because there is a massive financial difference between those two things. Body shops are not evil, but they are businesses, and their business model depends on you not knowing what you are about to learn. They are the surgeons who want to perform open heart surgery on a patient who just needs a bandage. They have the tools, the training, and the invoices all ready to go, and every person who walks through that door is another opportunity to perform an operation that was never necessary in the first place. You are opting out of that system today. Now, let us talk about what is actually happening at the molecular level when you get a parking lot scuff, because once you understand the physics, the solution becomes obvious and the scam becomes even more infuriating. When two solid surfaces collide or drag against each other, friction converts kinetic energy into heat. That heat is concentrated at the contact point, which is a microscopic zone right at the surface of your clear coat. The material that is softer, and in most parking lot scenarios, the other car's bumper paint, the shopping cart coating, or the concrete pillar's surface material, is going to yield first under that heat. It softens, it smears, and because your clear coat has a microscopically textured surface, when you look at it under magnification, all those tiny peaks and valleys, the softened foreign material flows into those valleys and grips there. When the contact breaks, the foreign material cools and rehardens in place. It is now mechanically bonded to the surface texture of your clear coat, sitting right on top of it like a sticker that conformed to the shape of the surface it landed on. This is called paint transfer, and it is categorically different from a scratch. A scratch is subtractive. Something has physically removed clear coat material, dug into the surface, displaced it. A scratch creates a trough. Paint transfer is additive. Material has been deposited on top of your surface. Nothing was removed. Your clear coat is sitting underneath that white or yellow smear completely untouched. Baby oil, and specifically mineral oil, which is its refined pharmaceutical grade equivalent, works because of its molecular weight and viscosity properties. Mineral oil is a long-chain hydrocarbon with a very specific ability to penetrate narrow surface interfaces through capillary action. When you apply it to the edge of that transferred paint sticker, it wicks under the foreign material, migrating through the microscopic gap between the bottom of the transfer layer and the top of your clear coat. Once it fills that gap, it acts as a lubricant that eliminates the mechanical bond holding the transferred paint to your surface texture. The adhesion drops to near zero. The foreign paint is now floating on a thin film of oil, completely separated from your clear coat, and it wipes away with the lightest pressure. You are not sanding anything. You are not abrading anything. You are not even touching the clear coat. You are evicting a squatter. You are removing something that does not belong there, using a substance that works with chemistry instead of against it. Your factory paint sits below, perfect, untouched, sealed, 30 seconds, $1, done. Now, let us talk about those scratch repair kits, because they deserve to be completely dismantled, and I want you to remember this next time you are standing in the automotive aisle at a big box store, staring at a box with a before and after photo that looks too good to be true. Those kits, the ones that run $30, $40, sometimes $60, and come with a little cloth, a small bottle of compound, and maybe a sanding pad, are built around abrasives. They are liquid sandpaper. The compound inside those bottles contains aluminum oxide, silicon carbide, or kaolin particles suspended in a carrier solution, and their entire mechanism of action is to physically abrade the surface of your clear coat to level it down to the bottom of the scratch. On an actual scratch, a real subtractive defect, this can sometimes work, though you still need to follow up with a polish and a wax to restore any shine. But here is the critical disaster that happens when you use them on paint transfer, which is what most parking lot scuffs actually are. You apply the abrasive compound to a surface that does not need abrasion. You start working it in, and yes, you do remove the white transfer mark, because the abrasive is physically stripping the surface layer of everything, including your clear coat. And what you are left with is a flat, hazy, dull patch right where the scuff was. It catches light differently than the surrounding paint. On a dark car, it shows up as a lighter, chalky-looking circle or smear. Under direct sunlight, it looks like someone pressed a hot iron to your bumper for 3 seconds. You traded a white scuff that was removable for free for a permanent dull spot that will require machine polishing to correct, and even then, you have lost clear coat thickness that you will never get back. That kit did not fix your car. It performed an irreversible procedure on healthy paint tissue to solve a problem that did not require any surgery at all. This is the definition of an iatrogenic injury. The treatment caused harm that the original condition never would have. Those kit manufacturers know exactly what their product does. They know most people are using them on paint transfer rather than actual scratches. They know the result will be a dull spot, and they are counting on you not connecting the dots, because by the time you notice the haze, you have already thrown away the packaging and forgotten which store you bought it from. Now let us get into the actual protocol, because technique matters, and a wrong step here turns a miracle into a mess. First, before you touch the scuff with anything, clean the area. Use a mild car wash soap and warm water, or a quick detailer spray, and make sure the surface is free of dirt, dust, and road grime. If there is any abrasive particle trapped under your microfiber or your applicator pad when you start working, it will scratch the clear coat, turning your additive surface mark into a real scratch, and that is the one outcome we are trying to avoid. Clean surface first, no exceptions. Second, grab a clean, soft microfiber cloth and apply a generous amount of baby oil or mineral oil directly to the cloth, not to the car. You want it saturated but not dripping. You can also use a soft foam applicator for this step if you have one. Do not use a magic eraser. I know some people swear by them for scuffs, but magic erasers are micro-abrasive melamine foam, and while they are soft, they will dull a clear coat finish over repeated use. Stick to microfiber. Third, place the saturated cloth on the scuff and let it sit for about 10 to 15 seconds before you start moving it. You are giving the oil time to migrate under the transfer layer through capillary action. This is not a step you can rush. The oil needs to get underneath the foreign material before it can work. Fourth, use light, rapid, overlapping circular strokes across the transfer mark. You should feel essentially zero resistance. If you are pressing hard, you are doing it wrong. The oil is doing the chemical work. You are just providing gentle guidance. Watch the transfer mark start to break up and come off onto your cloth. If the entire scuff does not clear in one pass, reapply oil and repeat. Do not increase pressure. Just reapply and work gently. Most parking lot transfers come off completely in one pass. On stubborn ones, 2 or 3 passes handle it without any drama. Fifth, and this is the step where everything can go catastrophically wrong if you skip it, so pay close attention. Once the scuff is gone, you must immediately and thoroughly degrease the entire area with dish soap and water. Use a clean wash mitt or microfiber, work up a good lather with standard dish soap, and scrub the treated area completely. Rinse it clean. Dry it, then do it again. I am completely serious about this. Mineral oil, left sitting on a painted surface, acts as a solar concentrator under direct sunlight. The oil's refractive index channels and amplifies UV radiation directly into the clear coat surface beneath it. The clear coat heats up from below the oil layer far faster than it would under direct sun exposure, and if the temperatures get high enough, which on a dark bumper in direct summer sunlight they absolutely will, the clear coat softens, loses adhesion to the color coat beneath it, and begins to separate. This is called delamination, and it looks like bubbles or blistering forming under the paint surface. Once delamination happens, there is no fixing it without a complete strip and respray of that panel. A full panel respray on a bumper runs between $800 and $1,500 at a reputable shop. So the math is stark. Remove the oil immediately and completely, and you have a perfect bumper for $1. Leave the oil on and go park in direct sun, and you have a delaminating panel and a bill that makes the original $600 scuff repair look like a bargain. Degrease. Completely. Every time. No exceptions. After degreasing, dry the panel and apply a coat of spray wax or paint sealant to the treated area. The oil will not have damaged the clear coat in any way, but the degreasing process will have stripped whatever wax protection was on that spot, so you want to reseal it. A quick spray wax takes 30 seconds and puts a protective barrier back on that surface. After that, your bumper is done. It is sealed, it is clean. And it looks exactly the way it did before the parking lot incident ever happened. Not close to the way it looked before. Exactly the way it looked before, because you never touched the factory paint. You removed something that was sitting on top of it. Your clear coat is the same thickness it was yesterday. Your factory finish is intact. The color underneath is undisturbed. You did not lose a single micron of protection because none was removed. Meanwhile, the person who went to the body shop has a bumper that has been sanded, primed, and sprayed with a color approximation that loses its UV resistance faster than the factory original, that has blend edges somewhere along the adjacent panel, and that the shop will happily remind them to repaint again in 4 years when it starts to show. And the person who used the $30 scratch repair kit has a bumper with a permanent hazy circle right where the scuff was, which they are going to spend the next several months trying to correct with progressively stronger compounds until they have polished through the clear coat entirely and now actually do need a respray. $1, 30 seconds. Your original paint. That is the entire story. So the next time you walk out of a parking lot and find a white smear on your bumper, do not panic, do not call the insurance company, and absolutely do not drive to a body shop and open your wallet. Go to the dollar store. Grab baby oil. Follow the protocol. Degrease when you are done. Move on with your life. And then send this video to every person you know who just texted you a photo of their parking lot surprise because they are 30 seconds and $1 away from a solution and they do not know it yet. That share takes you 2 seconds and it saves them $600 and 3 days without their car. This is exactly the kind of information the auto body industry spends a lot of money hoping you never find, and every person who sees it is one fewer customer walking through their door to pay for a surgery that was never needed. Subscribe, share it, and stay here. Because what you learned today is one piece of a much larger picture of how to protect, maintain, and restore your vehicle's exterior for a fraction of what the industry charges, using chemistry that works better than the products they are trying to sell you.